Greetings, everyone. We have a very special guest in the studio this week whose passion is teaching women the art and practice of listening to God's still small voice above all other voices that beg for their attention. Her seminars, workshops, and classes are centered around providing a safe place for women to have experiential knowledge of God's character. Coming up right now on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show.
Where was London?
I like that.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
All right.
Ready? Ready?
We go! Gotta get cute this morning. Sweeter than a morning snack.
Guess who?
We'd like some brew and make that coffee black. Welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. The Great Reality with Tony J.
Good morning, everyone.
Myself, the Monty Man, and Denver Wolf is here, and a very special guest we're going to introduce to you momentarily. Splash on some fruit this morning. I'm snazzy as a Cadillac. I'm up, so grab your cup and let's have coffee. Lots of coffee. Shots of coffee. Lots of coffee. I don't know.
Make that coffee black.
Where is my coffee,
I was just
Tony?
saying that. Wait, where's your mug?
Right here.
Oh, no, not mug shot.
I don't know. I had a cup of coffee earlier from the Human Being.
Oh.
Yes. On my sugar, and that was sugar-free, by the way, Denver.
Well, thank you.
Yes, it was sugar-free, Snickers with non-fat, 2 extra shots.
Wow. That's a meal in a cup.
Yes, it worked in reverse. Okay. Welcome to the show, everyone. Bruce is not here. Marv is not here. They are both ill. They are both not feeling well. They're under the weather. You would think if you were under the weather, you'd be out of the storm, right?
No, that's like when you fly.
So you're under like it's pouring on you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Gravity.
So you're not in the eye. You're under the weather. All right. So right off the bat, welcome everybody. Listen. Oh, Tony, here's. Do
you want me to do both?
Yeah, you can do both.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I want to do something. I want to retract the statement I made last week.
Uh-oh.
Listen,
I know which one it is.
Here's the deal. It doesn't matter who we are. If we don't remain teachable and we're not willing to admit when we've goofed, we're just not growing. And so I kind of goofed last week, and I want to cop to it, and I want to apologize, particularly to the listener that it really offended. I was definitely in the wrong. So this is what happened. Last week, I referred to the Golden Globes. Now, I'm not going to apologize
For what you said about that.
for what I said about that, as far as my opinion. When I watch an award show, I want to focus on the award, on the talent of the individual and their abilities as an actor, as a singer, as a whatever. I don't want to hear your political view. That's not the platform for it. So I do not apologize for criticizing those who presented in a moronic manner their political views during the show. That's not what the show's for. But I do apologize, and I ask your forgiveness for referring to them as morons. I am very passionate sometimes, and my opinion can get in the way, and that was not godlike. That was not Christ-like. That was not loving. They're not morons. They're precious people. God loves every one of them, regardless of whether I agree with them or disagree with them. And particularly it was interpreted that I called Meryl Streep a moron. Now, I did not actually do that.
Sorry.
I didn't call her that, but I can see where that could have been interpreted that way. So
Somebody
I apologize.
sent you an email about this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we asked for emails, whether it's hate mail or love mail. We want emails. So listen, that was unethical, unprofessional, and that isn't what I want to represent. It's okay to have an opinion and state that a person's actions are less than have integrity, but to character assassinate somebody And that's just not at the heart of Christ. And I apologize for that, Tony, and you're laughing your head off. So there we go. If we lose that listener, we do. But I felt like that was important.
I mean, if you were friends with Meryl Streep and you're blasting her, I could see that. But you're not friends with Meryl Streep.
No, but she's still a human being.
Well, I know.
And she is a phenomenal actress. And I didn't really...
You're a bigger person than I would be.
I really didn't disagree with her opinion. Because I think the person that she was talking about is kind of a jerk. But it wasn't the place for it. It isn't the place to promote the president-elect. It isn't the place to slam the president-elect. It's the Golden Globes. It's focusing on the entertainment. And I'm not...
It's... Yeah.
I have my own views. I'm a conservative. I'm a born-again Christian. All that kind of stuff. I'm not real fond of the personality of some people. I may agree with them, but to say what I said wasn't appropriate. So there you go. All right. So let's switch gears here. I want to read an email that was sent into me on Friday, and let me tell you something. This is what makes it all worth it. It says, Monty, I'm a Christian and alcoholic who has been in recovery almost 2 years. I recently found your show on YouTube.
Aww.
I've been listening to AA speakers online for a long time, but I really needed to hear about recovery from a Christ-centered perspective. I go to AA regularly, but sometimes I feel out of place and like I can't talk about God too much and not about Jesus at all. Just the other day, some of us were reprimanded about this. Thank you so much for your show. It means so much to me to hear about you and other Christians who have struggled with alcoholism and other addictions. I read your story and found it compelling and inspirational. I believe God put your show in my path because he knew it would help me. I came to recovery late in life at age 50, but I am so grateful that God never gave up on me, beginning with trauma in childhood. I resigned myself to a life of pain. I believed it was what I deserved and that I would never be able to experience the peace and happiness I had seen in others. I have been a Christian for decades, but it wasn't until I stopped drinking and began the recovery process that I learned what it means to truly surrender my life to God. I still have a lot to learn, especially about emotional sobriety. Really enjoyed your show about that one. Again, Thank you so much for what you do. I'm going to download your app and search for all the shows I have missed. Your friend in recovery, Elaine.
Aww.
Elaine, thank you.
See, that makes it all worth it.
I know.
That's
Doesn't
amazing. And girl, 50 is not old. All right.
No.
Monty's only 49.
That's right. You're so sweet.
I know.
She says, P.S. If you're ever interested in checking it out, I write about my recovery journey in a blog, and I checked it out. It's very user-friendly. It's very simple. It's very positive, and it's called hungsober.com. So www.hungsober.com. She says, not fancy, because I am technically challenged, but writing helps me release some of the pent-up feelings I have struggled with in my life. So she's journaling, and she's sharing it with us, and that's awesome stuff.
See, like not hung over anymore. Now she's hung sober.
That's right.
Awesome.
Not hung over.
I like that.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay,
so there we go.
Thank you, Elaine.
And I will watch the Golden Globes again.
I won't.
So in the studio, and before we introduce our very special guest, Denver Wolf is here.
Hello.
Hey, Denver. Denver. So in kind of honor of Denver, I played that little, we call it bumper music at the very beginning by Warren Zevon.
Oh, yeah.
Called Werewolves of London.
Yes. Being my last name, Wolf, I enjoyed that.
But it's actually Wolfie.
Wolfie?
W-O-L-F-E.
Yeah, well,
but he is silent.
I had that tattoo removed because people started going Wolf-E.
Wolf-E.
So we had a cover-up done on that one.
So Denver is an intern in the educational department at the Adult and Teen Challenge Center.
Yes, I am. In
Shed, Oregon, which we are part of the largest Teen Challenge network in the world, is the Pacific Northwest one. And I, as educational coordinator, get to work directly with Denver, and it has been an absolute privilege And I couldn't do it without his help. He's an amazing guy. I really couldn't. I lean on you a lot more than you realize. Wait, Denver's not here? Oh no, what will I do?
That's sweet.
He's being used somewhere else.
Yeah. So Denver and I just finished up our training, peer support specialist training. So
nice.
When we pass, and we will pass our certification, we will actually be able to put PSS after our name. PSS. Doesn't that stand for, isn't that like PS in a letter and then you do it again? It's PSS?
Yeah, why would you do that? Just do a whole new paragraph.
Yeah, I don't know. But it'll be Denver. What's your middle initial?
DA. I'm De Wolf.
Oh, De Wolf.
It's quite a play on words.
Denver De Wolf PSS.
Okay, so what's your full name?
Ooh, Denver Allen Wolf.
Denver I see where you're getting the duh from.
DA Wolf.
Moving right along.
Yes.
And I'm going to go more into our guest's bio here a little bit. But Yolanda Gorick is sitting right. Did I pronounce your last name correct?
No.
How do you pronounce it?
Gorick.
Gorick. Isn't that what I said? Gorick?
No.
What did I say?
I have no idea, but that's not what you said.
Oh.
I think you put another syllable in there somewhere.
Oh, no. Yolanda's with us, and she is an author, and she's going to share some of her story and exactly what she's up to and why we have her in the studio today. But I needed to introduce her, at least her name right now, because we're going to invite you to join us in Take 12 Trivia.
Trivia.
Can't wait. So I need you to pull your microphone closer to you so it's more right up to you.
Yeah, you almost have to kiss him.
Yeah, so you can move the whole boom towards you, so that way you don't have to lean.
Okay.
Lean in. There you go.
How's that?
That'll work.
Okay.
Yeah, these are great mics. You can touch them and mess with them, and they don't make any sound. I love that. So we're going to do that when we come back. We're going to play a little Take 12 Trivia, and it's going to be Wolf Trivia. Wolf Trivia.
Boy.
In honor of Denver. So don't go away. Check this out.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
This is Tony Morosi from the recovery band Self-Esteem, and we're listening to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show with the Monty Man on KHLT Broadcasting.
How many people do you personally know who struggle with a life-controlling habit such as drugs and alcohol? How many times have you tried to share with them that there is hope waiting for them with no response? Teen Challenge has a solution. Our ministry's mission is to evangelize people who struggle with bondage from addiction. We love to reach out to the broken through church services, youth groups, events, and projects. This is a great opportunity for community leaders to partner with a ministry that has been around almost 60 years and share the message that God transforms lives. Are you a youth pastor or leader in the Willamette Valley region? Teen Challenge has a powerful drug prevention program called Stay Sharp. This targets the teenage audience about dangers and consequences of addiction on a more personal level. You can find out more at www.staysharp.us. Call 541-344-4328 or 541-491-1004 to schedule outreaches or learn more about our ministry's powerful presentation in your area. Be the reason someone finds hope, seeks freedom, and accepts change in Jesus Christ our Lord.
And now,
It's the quiz of the week.
all right, Cecil.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Take 12 Radio's Quiz of the Week, sponsored by that recovery magazine, the 12-Step Gazette. Visit their website at 12stepgazette.com. Now, here's the Monty Man.
Thank you, Cecil.
I miss Cecil over the holidays.
Yeah, Cecil took the holidays off.
I know.
There for a bit. Okay, so in honor of Internship Day,
Thank you,
which
Monty.
it really isn't a day at all. Actually, today is a very special day. We're going to talk about that. It's kind of got more than just one thing going on today. Right, Yolanda? Mm-hmm. Yeah, some pretty special stuff. Because this is Denver's first exposure to being behind a microphone at all, as far as radio goes.
That is correct.
We thought we would do
You're a first timer?
He's a first time.
Oh, I remember mine. I was nervous. You're good.
Yolanda's done radio. You've done radio, but Denver's never done it.
I used to sing to the cows out in the pasture, but that was just my voice. No microphone.
Is that
So
why
I'm a
there's-
little bit nervous about a microphone in front of my face.
Is that why we can't find any cows now?
I don't know.
They all
but
ran away.
They would stand and listen to me, and then they'd move on.
I see.
Play on words.
All right. So, of course, if you get it right, something like that, and if you get it wrong, you get the fluff machine. Okay? So
It's fun. Trivia is fun.
there's, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, and a bonus. And if you get them all right, you get them all right. That's about the bottom line right there. So, Wolf Trivia, in honor of Denver, Wolf.
Thank you, Monty.
E. Okay, number 1. What is and it's a multiple choice. So, what is the life expectancy of a wolf in the wild? Is it 6 to 8 years, 10 to 12 years, or 13 to 17 years? Yolanda, want to take a guess?
I'll take the first one.
6 to 8? Mm-hmm. Okay, Denver?
Oh, I'm going to C. We have longevity.
13 to 17? Tony, what do you think?
I was actually going to say C too because, they're mean things. They can be
We're not
things.
mean.
I know.
So how long? How long you say?
Long time.
Long time?
Sorry.
The FCC has not got
I know.
it does not have its jaws in internet podcasting as of yet, so don't sweat it. Yolanda's correct. It's 6 to 8 years in the
That's
wild.
it?
The reason I said that was because I thought how difficult it is for them to survive with their own kind. And then you add man who has a gun. So I thought, I'll just give him the shortest lifespan of
Right.
all.
That makes sense.
That has
That's
lots
That
of
brutal.
makes sense.
Brutal.
It just says wolf traps and all of that. So
Yeah.
She's
yeah,
good.
It's not very long. Yeah, 6 to 8 years, which is sad. And that's not natural, by the way. As I look this up, that's not natural. That's just the way it is today for a lot of these reasons. Okay, trivia question number 2. Which one of these is not a movie about a wolf? Is not a movie about a wolf? Balto, Never Cry Wolf, White Fang, or Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolfman?
What was the first one?
Balto, Never Cry Wolf, White Fang, or Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolfman. Which one is not about a wolf?
Abbott and Costello.
Tony?
I'll go with her. She's smart.
Denver?
The Never Cry Wolf is not about a wolf.
He knows.
I know.
Well,
Look
it
at that
sounds
look.
like-
If you could see
Sorry.
Monty's face. Oh, no. Oh.
Yolanda and Tony are absolutely correct. Abbott and
Yeah,
Costello
high
Meet
five.
the Wolfman is not about a wolf. It's about a wolf man.
Yeah. Man.
The other 3 are about a wolf.
You're kidding
Yeah.
me.
I'm not
Never
kidding.
Cry Wolf?
No, Never Cry Wolf is about a wolf. Yes.
I'm going online and research.
Yeah, you cancel Yolanda and
All right.
Tony,
Yay.
you guys get that. Okay, number 3.
Fine.
Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolfman. It's about a wolf. Give me a break. The following are songs that have wolf in their name.
Oh, God.
Okay, and I'm gonna read them to you, and one of them is going to be a fill in the blank. All right, so the first one is "A Wolf at the Door" by Radiohead, "Of Wolf and Man" by Metallica, "Dire Wolf" by the Grateful Dead, or this and this one, "Blank Like the Wolf" by Duran Duran. Fill in the blank. Is it angry like the wolf, furry like the wolf, hungry like the wolf, or bloody like the wolf?
Totally
Tony?
hungry.
Hungry.
Hungry?
Hungry.
What do you say,
Hungry.
Yolanda? Hungry?
Hungry.
Hungry?
Hungry.
Yeah, you guys are correct. Very good.
That was an
That was too
old
easy.
song.
All right, and your last one, your bonus. Here we go. The Big Bad Wolf is the name given in 2 popular fairy tales. One was Three Little Pigs. What was the other?
I already know.
Little Red Riding
Tony?
Yeah, she's right.
Little Red Riding
Yes,
Hood.
you guys
Oh,
are
my God.
correct.
I forgot that was even a
Yes.
song.
And that, I think, yes, does it? Cecil? Yeah, okay. That does for Take 12 Trivia for this week. I think. There it is.
He's taking us out.
There it is. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. In honor of Denver Wolf.
Thank you.
E.
His face.
That's a whole different story.
All righty. So, what I love about doing Take 12 Recovery Radio is, recovery is a very broad term. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we learned in our peer support certification class that Denver and I have been taking. And, we tend to think of recovery as being associated with drug and alcohol recovery because it's very not only is it very popular, it's very it's in vogue. It's all over TV and talking heads and talk shows and all that kind of thing.
Everything. Sure.
So one of the definitions of recovery that I came up with was being involved, being proactive in an evidence-based practice for the purpose of achieving wellness. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we've been taught is this is about wellness, and it isn't necessarily drug and alcohol. It could be mental health issues. It could be recovering from anything that's traumatic in your life. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk kind of a little bit about that with our guest today, because she's definitely, you've been through a process. You've had to recover from some very painful things. True? True. As a new Christian in 1980, my guest struggled for years with intimacy and trust with God, men, and herself. After healing for past abortions, going through that, she found a joy for mourning the first women's post-abortion ministry at the Church on the Way in 1985. Serving in women's ministry leadership for 15 years, Yolanda Gorick also served as founder and director of an educational nonprofit organization. During that time, she developed a unique weekend format for women seeking healing for all types of loss. As a Christian marriage and family therapist, Yolanda helped couples, men and women, grieve and grow through all types of loss, transition, divorce, using art therapy tools. Over several years, she facilitated Telling Yourself the Truth, a women's growth group designed to help participants examine and exchange misbeliefs for the truth. The gifted communicator, Yolanda is a popular speaker chosen for sharing the nuts and bolts of a relevant faith with a mighty God. Well, in her memoir, The Road Back to Love, author Yolanda Gorick shares her adventure to escape religious tradition to find God at 18 in the counterculture of the 60s and 70s, when her life is derailed by abortion, miscarriage, divorce, and occult religions. She feels lost and abandoned by God. On the brink of divorce, she has a profound encounter with God at a church her husband finds in the Yellow Pages. The Road Back to Love is a powerful story of redemption after loss by the lover of her soul. It's never too late to take your first step with God on the road back to love, Yolanda says, and we are really proud to have you with us today on Take 12 Recovery Radio.
I would love to read that book. You read that so well.
He speaks very well.
Well, thank you. So Yolanda, I received a call from you the other day, and you had come across Take 12 Recovery Radio. How?
A friend of mine said that you did really great work, and if I wanted to talk to you to see about sponsoring some time so I could talk about my book, he said, I bet you he might be interested.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you did. And it's not common for me to book a guest that same week, but it was just, I think it was the Lord. I just felt like in my spirit, no, we need to do this. And as it turned out, a couple of our co-hosts today showed up, or they didn't show up. They were sick. So, I mean, God orchestrates things. So this is very timely. So you've been through some pretty painful stuff.
Yes, but I'll tell you, the joy of the Lord, a lot of times I thought that scripture that says, count it all joy when you fall through various
trials.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, that's a joke. That is a real joke. And that was as a Christian. I thought, how can that be in the Bible? This is not fun. But you know what I found after the healing, after I drew really close to God? That's the comfort. That's the wisdom. That's the draw. It's not when you get it, it's not happy. Oh, I have cancer. Oh, I have this. I'm getting a divorce. It's like God really is close to the brokenhearted. And I think I not only had a broken heart, he helped me pick up the pieces of that heart. So now I have a whole heart instead of just being half-hearted. in my life. Because that's what losses do. They cut your heart up in pieces, and then you're just half-hearted.
Right.
Yeah.
So this has been definitely a journey for you, a destination which, and we're all on a journey, a destination we have not reached yet. So you have a ways to go, particularly with your book, right? Because it's not actually in print yet.
That's true.
So Yolanda, tell me about how did this start? This whole idea for this book and the premise for it.
Well, I wanted to say I thought this was a good time for this premise for the book because the caller, the email person that you had, who said they were 50 years old, they were talking about their thoughts. You know, I still call it stinking thinking.
Right.
And they said, what I deserve, it's what I thought I deserved.
Yeah.
That's exactly what many women feel after they've gone through something like an abortion or a miscarriage or a breakup. If you have gone through something and you don't really know God and you don't have a personal relationship, you can get to feel, oh, I know why bad things are happening. It's because I'm bad. So I deserve them. So I really connected to that email person.
Yeah, I bet.
That was amazing. And so my book is, I guess you could call it, it's the seed idea of a legacy that I felt God put on my heart to say, now it's your turn to tell them how to come to me, that I'm approachable, that I'm right there. I want you to tell them so they'll believe me.
Oh.
So that's my story.
Yeah, yeah. So we get beat up a lot behind our behaviors. And there's a lot of negative, not only negative talk from outside sources, but a lot of negative self-talk. Like you were saying, like the author of the email, you know, I thought this is really what I deserved, or I didn't deserve this, or I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, how can God love me, and that kind of thing. And where do you think some of those ideas come from, that I'm just not worth the love of my Creator?
Well, in my book, I had to be very candid and honest. It's a memoir. So in my healing process I want to make this clear, that even though abortion is one of the main areas where it turned my life around, I want to say that the book also explains that there are losses that are called, I named them the little deaths in life, because they are socially unacceptable, meaning you may not be able to talk about them in society, but what about church? What about your family? Maybe even your best friends. And finally, when you're getting that close to reality, you might not even be able to admit it to yourself. That's where I was. And that's where God took me and said, come and let us reason together. I already know what you're hiding. Why don't you come and you can tell me anything, because I was there. So the idea for my book is I have a hurt, like a longing, like a yearning, to call out women that I see hiding behind the walls in church. Some of them are hiding for safety, so they can fit in, but they're isolated and they're struggling, and they feel ashamed, and they wonder, is someone going to know that I don't really belong here? I remember the church on the Way is a mega church. It was 18,000 when we stumbled into it from the Yellow Pages.
And that was Jack Hafer's church.
Yes.
When he was in that particular senior ministry. Yeah.
That's right. That was his church. And after I had gone through my first post-abortion support group at a crisis pregnancy center, I went back to the church and I said to the women's director, Naomi Beard, I said, can I start this here? I know it takes a long time. We have to fast and pray, and then we have to, just do a lot of, publicizing. And she said, oh, no. She said, when can you start? And I said, really? So we had a very successful run at the church, which was a mega church. And I remember one woman coming in to see me, and she said, hey, I can't believe a church this big had an announcement for post-abortion healing. She said, thank you for making a place for someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you belong here. And she said, I never thought I'd see something in the bulletin for someone like me. And I feel a lot of women feel isolated, like they're different.
Yeah.
So back to the understanding I have about the little deaths is that women carry, I believe, a lot of burdens, a lot of losses, a lot of disappointments and failures, and we just pack it up and we move on because people need us. If our neighbor doesn't need us, our child needs us. If they don't, then our parents need us, and then our husband needs us. And we become very needy ourselves. So those losses, so for example, it's not the breakup that bothers a woman sometimes. It could be the fact that she has a STD with the guy after the breakup. So
Right.
it's not that. And maybe it's even deeper.
It's the cable.
Maybe it's because her friend said, we told you, you should have broke up with the guy. He was a jerk. And so now, all right, you got your bed and you lay in it. Those kind of things shut us down and they just make us quiet. And we hide that silent pain. And we just we think, oh, maybe that's what God thinks about me too. And that's the stinking thinking.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So perhaps not the breakup itself, but people saying things like, well, you should have done that a long time ago. Or, if you had just listened to me, that's very shaming.
That's what makes it a little death. Because what dies is just not your hope for yourself, but your self-esteem. The fact that not only do you feel like they're minimizing it, they're shaming you, and then you go, well, what am I worth? Maybe God doesn't think I'm worth anything. And then very often what I did is I thought, well, if I did this wrong or this bad, that's why this is happening, because I am bad. We make all of these assumptions, and we distance ourselves from church, we distance ourselves from God, and we go, there's just no hope. If I'm going to be called this, I might as well act like this.
Yeah.
So there's the long road back to love.
And it can be long.
Mine was.
Does it have to be long?
I think my book hopes to, and when I talk about it, I want to intersect women's lives to be able to say, wherever you are on that road, you need to admit you're lost. You can't say, I'm fine, those two famous words. I see them like a T-shirt. I'm fine, thank you. The women I want to reach are the women like I felt at the time, back in the 60s and 70s. I was strong, I was independent, I was rebellious, and I was damned if God was going to be in a building. I mean, that is the last place I would ever think to find God. Someplace religious where, someone's going to tell me how to think. Mm-hmm. Well, in the rise of the 1969 and the 70s.
Sure.
What was that? We don't need no stinking badges.
Right.
Okay. Well, I don't need no stinking Bible. So, that goes off there.
Right.
Does it have to be long?
Go ahead, Tony.
See, and this show is perfect timing for me because I'm currently going through a separation, and it's more of I've stayed so long, and I want to say this right so it doesn't come out wrong. He's not a bad person. He was there for me. But now it's years later that now it's getting toxic because of my sobriety and, certain situations. But I've stayed longer than what I thought because living for others, like my parents, they love him to death. And at times, I honestly think they love him more than me. Oh, damn.
It's okay, Tony. It's all right. It's all right.
So do we have to stay the road that long? If Tony's going to be honest, she's going to be on a different road.
Right.
And that's going to be a lot healthier.
Yeah, not compromising for them. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because she has the courage to talk about it, she's not shutting down that pain.
Right.
And that is healthy.
Yeah.
That is where that is healthy. And that's where you instead of being on a cliff like I was, because I was on the brink of divorce, she's building a bridge. And that's one of the points in the book. Mm-hmm. You don't have to stay on that bridge and then just jump and hope you fall someplace soft, because you're not. It's the bridge to hope.
Yeah.
And she has the courage to admit this is painful.
Right.
This really sucks.
Yeah.
And so when you said it wasn't what'd you say, sociably acceptable?
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all. It's an everyday thing, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yes.
And so it's like I've jumped, but I'm taking a couple months to make sure my life is going to be okay, and then we split. Money and roommates and bills and situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to do it.
You're taking care of yourself. And,
and I have to do it the smart way to make sure I just don't do what I used to do and go on instinct, and then worry about the consequences later with everything else.
What would you do before to medicate the pain?
Drink.
Yeah.
Every day, all day. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you don't do that now. Mm-mm. You go to your support system. You give away what's been given to you by coming on the show every week.
Yeah.
She's an amazing. We call her the Queen of the Golden Arches. I don't know anybody that works for a fast food industry at her age for as many years and has got more awards for it. That's integrity. I mean, it just blows my mind.
I wasn't trying to take over your mic.
No,
I feel bad.
This is beautiful how God showed up for this.
And it's funny because my sobriety date and my start date, there are 2 months in between. So, this year will be 7 years for both of them.
And one of the things that Tony's been learning, Yolanda, is the love of the Father, is the love of her Heavenly Father and God. And this has been a journey she's really kind of dug her teeth into while being here at Take 12 Radio, right? Mm-hmm. And so there is self-awareness, there is wellness, like we talked about Denver in the class that we did. There is taking care of yourself, and it is okay, perfectly okay. And this kind of goes against a lot of tradition. It is okay to make sure that you're okay before taking care of everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm. On that note, thank you, Tony, for your candidness.
Yeah.
I think it starts with courage. And most women feel it's courageous to take care of other people while they suffer, they're limping or they're hurting. And that's why I think it takes the long road. You said, does it have to be that long? No. But women don't have the courage often to spit out, this really sucks, this really hurts, and I need help.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this book is dedicated to the love chapter, where it says it doesn't matter if I give all my money to the poor. So you could I like making scripture relevant. So when I read a piece of scripture, I always ask the Holy Spirit, so what does this mean for me? So if I was in your place, it might be, if I could talk with the languages of angels, but I didn't love others, I'd be like a noisy gong. So I might translate that, or I might hear God saying, so what if you take care of your husband? So what if you take care of other people? It doesn't matter if you sacrifice the last 10 years to get your kid through college. If you don't have love, you're like a clanging cymbal. So it means this is pointless. It means I don't feel love. I don't feel loved. I don't hear God. So you can make that connection really real. And I think that's one of the things. I have a lot of what I call in the book courageous conversations, where I don't challenge God, but I peel off the layers of the scriptures so that I ask God, and how does that bring me back to life? How does that bring me back to life? And that's what I teach women in my workshops, and that's what's in the book as well.
You talk about, and I love this, you talk about other forms of abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, touch on that.
When I did my seminars at the Church on the Way, it's called Beauty for Ashes, many women came up to me and they said, I've never had an abortion. I never would, but I've had this, this, and that. So when I got up to speak, I said, some of you have never had an abortion and would never have one. But I'll bet you have said no to God. If you think of the definition of abortion, that is cutting off prematurely the life of something that was intended to grow. So I said, my confrontation with God showed me that God said, Yolanda, you're still aborting. And I said, that's impossible. I have my tubes tied. God said, Yolanda, you compare me to everyone else you know. You think that because of your abortions, I'm never going to give you a gift of life, and you're wrong. Every morning, my blessings are new for you. Every morning, I give you something special that I want you to hold on to and birth and carry out into the world just like it was a child. I give you life every day. I said, so to the women, I said, so when are you saying no to God? For the same reasons a woman might have an abortion. I don't have enough money. I can't do that. My boyfriend says, no, don't do that. My husband says, you want to do what? What will people think of me? So we continue to have spiritual abortions, which are just as powerful a loss as our physical abortions. That's my belief.
Did a light bulb just come on for you, Tony?
Where do you speak at?
Right here on the radio.
No, I mean, like, where, like, what church? I mean, I know the church, but where is it?
Well, she just moved here, so but I'm sure we're going to be hearing from where. We're going to be hearing more from her.
But I want to tell you, this is what God showed me, and this is what I share in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like meetings, though. We share to give each other hope. So you're doing that with me right now. I'm like, okay, I am doing the right thing when everybody else in my family thinks I'm effing up, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, besides Kylie.
So when you talk about, because a light bulb really came on for me when you told me that over the phone the other day, because I was like, how many times have I, well, first of all, how many times have I confused a calling from a burden?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I will feel burdened to something and then jump into it, fall flat on my face because God didn't call me to that. He burdened it to me for me to pray. But how many times have I actually known that God was asking me to move in a direction and I was like, I don't think I can do that, or I don't believe in myself enough to do it, or I don't believe in you enough, God, to give me the power to do it, or I'm doubting it. And so I will prematurely abort the mission. Because, we hear that all the time, right? Abort, abort in movies, they're ready to launch the torpedoes. Abort, abort. So in other words, stop doing what you're doing. Don't follow through. Do not experience the dreams and the hopes and the accomplishments that God said. No, I told you, yeah, you can't do it on your power, but you can do it on my power. So don't abort it. Don't give up. Press in. And don't pay so much attention to your circumstances. Pay attention to me.
And
I said, you can do it, right?
There's a book in you.
Oh, everybody
don't
tells
tell
me
him that. No, okay. No, but Monty, you're right, because I know I've seen signs about my situation beforehand.
Right.
But I've just not followed through with it.
So, Denver, what do you think about this whole idea of...
Have your mic back, Denver.
Have you had experiences where you've had some good ideas and maybe thought God was directing you to path? You go, nah, I just don't think I can do that. And you just aborted it?
Yeah, of course. Like yesterday, we were headed to the Chinese restaurant, and we almost turned back before the miracle, and it showed up right in front of us. What I'm amazed right now is I'm sitting here quietly listening, which I'm enjoying this. God showed up for you two to have this conversation here today. It's like magic.
That's
so
it
just
you're gonna make me cry again. Don't do that.
It's okay. It's okay. What I heard also was you mentioned something about these little deaths. They're like spiritual strokes in our life.
Oh, I like that.
It just robs us slowly. Boom, 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 and you're getting robbed. Your growth is stunted, and it's a shame that we can't grasp a hold that God is there 24/7. And we get taken down slowly and hard. It's a horrible thing, but it happens to us all. So, like I said, I'm extremely quiet over here due to the fact that I'm new to a microphone. But what I'm hearing is just beautiful. The timing, how it worked out.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
God's so cool.
He's here.
Yeah. So what is that? What does that do for you when you see some of these things that God has shown you, a light bulb come on in other people, other women particularly?
What does it do
for
me?
What's it do for you?
I feel like I'm in the pocket. I'm in the flow. Mm-hmm. I'm right where I need to be. And I'm not aborting a single thing anymore. So it gives me assurance that I actually heard God. And that's what I want women to get in my book. You can hear him and he's talking all the time. Not incessantly. Right. But he's like, he's not... I think the main message is that God's approachable. And so when I hear this some magic or this connection, I feel God's there and we connect. And there's a part of us, I believe that we are human beings. Actually, we're supernatural beings covered with a body. Yeah. So when you see that electricity and that joining together, I envision our spirit talking with God. And so it brings back that abundant life. So this is real. This is real. This is not religious. Right. This is a real relationship with God. And it's true. You can take it to the bank. It works. It lifts the fog. And it's moving. And so I watch that, and I'm in awe every moment. Amen.
Amen. So the word says spirit ministers to spirit. So, and this is why some things don't make sense to people that haven't engaged in a relationship with God, is because that spirit connection isn't there. And so I may read a scripture verse to somebody, and they're going, I don't get it. To me, it's common sense, and to them, they don't get it at all, And so, and then all of a sudden, they'll have this relationship. It may be at a church service that they have it. It may be on a mountain. It may be in the shower. It may be just walking down the street with no intentions other than to go to Circle K for a soda pop. I mean, God meets people where they're at, and then all of a sudden, a light will come on, and they go, "Oh, now that makes perfect sense." And it can't be forced. You can't, I love good sermons, but it can't be preached into you. It can't be thumped into you. It's got to be directed by him. And I think a lot of times what we do is we think that, we need to help God. And so we want to rush it with people and try to fix them but if we will go into service mode, if we will be a servant to each other and a humble servant to God, he'll direct our path and we'll be able to communicate these things and do things like write a book. What are some of the obstacles that you have faced? I mean, you've had some temptations to go, Can I do this? Or?
Can I tell you what? Now, there's an idea that's coming through my heart right now as you're talking, and I would like to share it about recovery. My book is not about recovery of addiction or, However, I want to say that grief and loss and trauma and crisis and transition, those are not my specialties, but those are where God's given me an ear to hear. And many people don't know it. When they see someone or hear of someone who has an addiction, they don't see it for what it is.
Right, they don't.
My understanding is that is a longing and a grief.
They see the symptom only. They don't see what's going on.
And many of us who work in the field understand addiction to anything, whether it's gambling, clothes by Neiman Marcus, or you name it.
Yep.
It's a longing and a hurt, and the heart is crying out, and it's saying, feed me, heal me, love me. Yeah. And so until we find that love in God in a real way, it'll do. That'll do. The hamburger, the Coke, the whatever it is, it'll do for now, but your soul is hungry and it's starving and it's just crying out. And once it's satisfied, there's no need for the cover-up.
Right.
There isn't any need for the artificial. And it's kind of miraculous.
It is miraculous. It is an amazing thing to watch, too. And when we see the guys come to the center and we see the light go on and we see their dependence go from a substance to their creator, it'll blow your mind.
And I want people to know in my book that one of the worst addictions that I found is the way I think.
Sure.
The way I think about myself, the way I think, because the way I think about myself, if it doesn't match up to what God has meant me to understand about myself, what is it? It's misbeliefs, which is what we call them. Misbeliefs equal misbehaviors. So it's another way of saying stinking thinking is stinking behaviors. So misbeliefs equals misbehaviors, because the way you think about yourself is the way you treat other people, and the way you treat other people is the way you also think about God. It's like a triangle, and there's a flow. And so when you have a courageous conversation and you actually confront God, you see how tall he stands. You see who he really is. All those arguments, all of those, what is it? We are to pull down every argument that raises itself up against the greater knowledge of God. They just fall. They just fall down. You're saying, oh, that's the kind of God you are. And I think the deeper your pain and the more your shame, when you can confront God honestly and hear him say, that's not me, or that's not what I think of you. And you feel it in a moment where you can't deny it, nor can you explain it to anyone. You shouldn't be able to explain it that clearly to everyone.
Right.
You don't have. It changes you in a way that you have to stop talking about yourself the way you are, and believing the things you believe about yourself. I think the most private conversations I had with God were the most significant turning points. I don't think women are aware of how powerful we have, the power we have to crush others with our words. And that's something that God showed me, because I wanted to know, when I wanted a divorce, I don't know anybody else, but when we want a divorce, it's because they're bad. Our husbands are bad, but we're okay, and we just can't handle it anymore. So I asked God when I wanted a divorce, I said, so why do I have to change? My husband, that night at the Church on the Way in the Yellow Pages, we went there. Sunday night, I don't go to church. I have tarot deck, okay? We use astrology charts. We don't go to a church. That's not where I find God. I find him out there. So we go there, and they hand us a flyer, and it happens to be Divorce and the People of God. And I throw it up, and I go, I am really angry at God. I feel set up.
Yep.
I feel betrayed. I'm only a baby, 6 months old. And I think, now this is war, and you are the enemy, God. Why am I here? And that's the night that we walk away. It was very miraculous, and that's in the book. But it was a confrontation between wills. My will, God's will, and then Satan. And what I want to bring out here is that you really need to know who God is and who God isn't, so that you're not deceived to think, it's okay if I destroy myself. After all, I'm not hurting anyone else. And God showed me in my process, which took years, how devastating my words were, and that I was blaming my husband for things that happened in the past to me by other men. And the Lord said, you want to live in the present, Yolanda. You are famous for saying, be here now. Remember that back then? And the Lord said, but until you forgive and let go, you will always be living in the past and repeating yourself. Do you want something new? And that was profoundly awakening to me.
Okay, I'm done. She's thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy your book. What you just said was, wow. You have no idea what you just said. I mean, you do, but I mean...
Yes, I do.
Wow. Okay.
So...
You say you speak only to women, but that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm anxious for you to come to our valley and speak.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd have you speak at the Teen Challenge Center in a flash.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this book, when you asked me the question, does it have to be a long road? No. Because you pass a lot of people along the road. Pass a lot of people along the road.
Right?
Apples of gold.
Wow.
So thank you for asking.
We're out of time. And
I know,
I could go
I wanted
on
it.
with
Me
this.
neither. And you did so good.
You know, would you be willing to come back at some point and talk more, like when it actually comes out in print, so we can help promote it?
Oh, it's not out in print?
I would be
Dang
honored.
it. I know, I
I
want
would be
one.
honored.
Yeah, let's do that.
It'd be fun, too.
Yeah, it would be. So is it going to be on Amazon and all? You got that set up?
That's
Kindle,
not going to
or-
be till later, but
Later.
I'm here now.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I add one thing? It's wonderful to hear you speak over the microphone, but sitting in the studio here with you, your passion that you
Right.
portray
Your
is
presence.
just, yes,
Gold.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we get a preview to the book.
I know.
And we get to see the joy.
I'm sure what's in the book is not as amazing what we see right here. I'm
Amen.
truly honored.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
You put a lot of calm in my heart today.
Good. You know.
I'm not going to say anymore. I'm not going to cry again.
It is great stuff. So Yolanda, so tell us how people can contact you,
Okay.
and your Facebook page, etc.
Okay. Well, I am on Facebook, just Yolanda Gorick. But if they want to reach me for other speaking engagements or talk about the book, it's y.gorick62@gmail.com. And Gorick is spelled Gorick.
And if you go to our Facebook page, if you forget any of that, she's friends on our Facebook page, so you can contact her that way as well. We'll put a link to your Facebook page on Take 12 Radio.
Thank you.
And keep in mind, you can download this show on the Podomatic site, and Tony's going to talk about that here in a minute. So you don't have to take up any of your data, and you can plug it into your car or on your iPad or whatever it is you choose to listen on. Please feel free to make copies of the show. That those you have our permission to do that. All of our shows are copyrighted and owned by Take 12 Radio, but we give you verbal permission to go ahead and share because that's what we're about. We're about giving away what's been given to us, and we've been given a great gift today by having Yolanda on. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been a blessing. It really has.
Amen.
And we'll talk more about having you come out and speak to the guys. They need to hear this stuff because here's the deal. You're speaking to women and stuff, but guys need to appreciate and understand
Yes, we
this
do.
stuff. I said one of the things that I'm a big. I push this a lot with people I sponsor in 12-step fellowships when it comes to their relationship with their wives and girlfriends and like that. They say, well, she does this and it just seems so silly to me. And I go, you know what? Because it's important to her, it needs to be important to you. Even if it is the most ridiculous thing you ever thought of, it's not because of that. It's because it's important to her. You need to value what she values. Because when you do that, that is romantic, man. That is just that. Because I used to be like, my wife would say, could you turn off the light when you come out of the bathroom? And I think, yeah, how silly is that, right? You know why it's not silly? Because it's important to her. And when guys will get this kind of stuff, and they'll be open, like Denver's sitting here right now listening to this, and he's valuing, and I'm valuing it. The thing about abortion can be something other than what we typically think of. I mean, what a giant light bulb in my head. I'm like, wow. Never. I'm going to be using that. Can I use that? A lot. You know what? I could say to somebody, hey, Fred, what are you aborting here? What are you cutting short? What are you giving up for whatever reason?
That sounds very masculine.
Aww.
That's a good deal.
You got to get her and Marcia together. They would love
You
each
would love
other.
my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tony, how can they listen to the show?
All right. You can listen and download all of our shows by going to take12radio.com and clicking on the Listen Online button or subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also follow us on Podomatic and download all of our apps for iOS and Android. Becoming a member of Podomatic is free, and when you become a member of Podomatic, you can comment on the shows, click on the like button, and we ask that every time you tune in, click on the follow button. This helps with our demographics, and we can see who's enjoying the show. You can also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Monty Mark for 100 of our archive shows. All these methods are available at take12radio.com.
And Tony's going to tell us how you can get a hold of us here in a minute. So we're going to let you know when the book becomes available. We're going to keep you up to date on that, and we'll have Yolanda come back and carry on more of this conversation this vital work that you're doing. Thank you so much for listening to God's voice and answering the call to move forward and not aborting what God called you to do. Tony, how can they reach us?
I wish I had my bruised voice. If you would like to send us an email and tell us what you like or don't like about the show, or even indifferent, you can do that by emailing us at take12radio@comcast.net.
Good enough.
Just realized
Good enough.
I printed it.
Listen, our closing song today is by the group After the Chase. It is simply called Second Chance. Check it out.
Time and space can be a dangerous thing in hands of those that can do anything. How did my darkest hour become my source of power? I'm not worthy, but you won't let go. You've forgiven everything that I still know, and yet I can't forget how quickly I missed them. Still you hold on with no regret. It's a second chance for the third time. Another I forgive you that shouldn't be mine. With arms wide open you let me decide for that second chance to be fully alive. Like a moth to the flame, I'm always making the same mistake, and I should know by now that you let me in as the time before and place my baggage on your floor. No looking around to see what was right in front of me. It's a second chance again. Oh yeah. It's a second chance, another second chance. It's a second chance. Oh, second chance for the third time. Another I forgive you that shouldn't be mine. With arms wide open you let me decide for that second chance to be fully alive again.
Special thank you to my guest, Yolanda Gorick, and her book is going to be coming out. You don't want to miss that. We'll keep you informed when that is going to be available. The Road Back to Love. Thank you to Denver Wolf for sitting in today, and of course our co-host Tony J. Listen, until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, and we are all wishing God's perfect serenity for each and every one of you. Have a blessed day. Remember, we love you.
Bye-bye.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Oh, yeah, make that coffee black.